Through Tim, God has taught me how to learn when to step into things and learn when to rest from things and learn to, if God's pulling me in a direction, to follow into that direction and to really push for that.
Tim would call me out and be like, hey, I actually think you're called to more than what you're doing. I think you're selling yourself short. I think God has more for you. And I'd be like, yeah, whatever, Tim. And then now it's like, oh, maybe Tim was right. Maybe he saw something that I didn't see.
Through Tim, God has shown me not only how to be a leader, but to accept leadership from other people. Sometimes it's hard to accept help from those people, especially because it feels embarrassing, but Tim always makes that feel comfortable.
Tim has modeled for me what it looks like to balance life and ministry. And that's because he doesn't sacrifice what he has at home for the mission that God has given him.
Tim has modeled a really good relationship with his wife and with their kids and just kind of what that should look like.
When I think about Tim, is something that comes to mind right away is he's always gentle with his speech. It reminds me of the verse talks about let your words be gentle, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer each person. And that's just Tim. He's so gentle, he's so understanding and just wants to know, and that's something that I will always take with me and remember.
Tim would always take the time during the service to connect with me, and he would talk to me and just make me know that he saw me and that I was heard. He was very intentional with that, and I know he's very intentional with that with other people as well.
He takes the time to really get to know his students, which I think is a testament to his ministry, and I think why he's such a good pastor for high school students.
Tim is the kind of guy who is faithful and intentional with the people that are in front of him and around him. When we connect, it's always just something that's very intentional and in the moment, and you don't feel like he's somewhere else when he's talking to you.
Tim has modeled just a really steadfast and stable leader. He did such a good job shepherding me so that then I could shepherd my students better.
And that's the reason, honestly, one of the reasons why I'm in wildlife. I want to do that for other kids, to be consistent and be faithful to the Lord and just be an example for them.
They're not going to remember what you said, but they're going to remember that you're there. The strongest impression I have is he was there consistently.
He's really been one of the key leaders in my life that has always been there. He was my middle school leader, he was my high school pastor, he was my boss at a time, and he's someone I can rely on and someone I can really kind of just put my full trust in, knowing that he's always going to be there.
Tim was my first leader that I ever had here in student ministries. Tim has given me an example of what a man looks like following Jesus consistently throughout the course of my whole life.
I would love to, when I stand before God, have that as something that I have accomplished. Like, hey, here's 10 years of faithful service in this ministry that you've called me to. And yeah, above all, Tim has modeled what it means to follow Jesus.
I think Tim models so well dependency on the Lord. I think for him, just like every time there's an event, there's like he's always just dependent on where the Lord is leading and where he's leading our ministry. And so it's been really cool to see just his dependency on Jesus.
I think we're gonna look back at this time in high school ministry like very fondly. Get like a little emotional thinking about it. Even from the beginning, seeing him like, can I really do this, to like, I'm doing it, and now he's like doing so excellent at it. And so just seeing the progression of how he's grown in the role and the confidence and things that used to maybe be really hard and take him a long time are now like second nature to him. I'm just really proud of him, and I know God's gonna continue to do. I think this is just the beginning of what God's gonna do.